Hi, my name is Dr. Ali. Welcome to Foreign MD, where we share stories and experiences of foreign trained medical graduates who were able to navigate the rigorous transition process at every level. These stories are meant to inspire and encourage you. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome to another episode of Foreign MD. I'm Dr. Ali, and I'm excited to have you all here today. And today I have with me Dr. Swapna, and she is a psychiatrist. And I'm so glad that she accepted my invitation to come in here today and tell her story. So thank you, Swapna. We appreciate you being a guest on the show today. So could you briefly introduce yourself to our guest today?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you, Ali, Dr. Ali, for focusing on this. I think that this is such an important topic. And through this podcast, if other IMGs are getting hope and inspirations from our stories, I'm more than happy, to share mine and my insights on that. So I am Swapna Vaidya. I am a psychiatrist. I'm dually board certified in adult psychiatry and psychosomatic medicine.
Oh, wow.
I've been in this field for about 22 years now, 23.
Oh, wow.
Started my residency in 2000 in New York. And I've spent almost, 17 years in New York doing academia. First at St. Luke's Roosevelt, and then I went to Icahn School of Medicine. Actually, first even worked at NYU in between. And then in Icahn School of Medicine, Mount Sinai, I was there for almost up till 2016, donning a few hats of leadership and director of transplant psychiatry, fellowship director, and so on and so forth. And then I had a child in my 40s. And then, life changed. So I decided to move to the West Coast to have more space. And my brother lives in Canada, in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So just kind of like, having his uncle close by.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. I've been here now for 6-7 years. And, career-wise, I've pivoted a lot. I feel that there's always constant learning going on, especially as medicine is evolving. And I started off in a hospital setting, for-profit, non-profit, leadership roles. And then when the pandemic struck, I wanted to explore more on the outpatient side, as well as always wanted to kind of like enter into some sort of a digital world. That was always my on back of the mind. I used to be fascinated with people who were doing the epic information, as well as, how technology can influence us. So right now, I'm the lead psychiatrist of a company called Options MD. And it's a startup tech start 3 company, which is I'm very excited about because it is really focusing on looking into treatment algorithms that we can come up to help patients who have treatment-resistant depression.
Oh, wow.
It's a niche group because a lot of the times psychiatrists are not, not all of them, but most people, when they have failed on couple medications, it becomes what next, right?
Yeah.
This is where this group is focusing on that group of patients who really look forward for what other alternatives you may have.
Yeah.
Now we're going through TMS and psychedelics and whatnot. So it's an exciting opportunity, an exciting phase for psychiatry.
That's awesome.
Here I am. Yeah.
And you've been really busy.
Oh, yes. And I just started a very, very small private practice here in Washington also. So I'm I don't know how. And now I'm doing a podcast with you. Don't ask. So I feel like my life, I think if anything from this podcast you can see is that I've always pivoted.
Yeah.
Challenges is, I think, a very common phenomenon you'll see for all IMGs.
Yeah.
There is a resiliency. I think a resiliency that is very, very unique to, I would say, our group.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So not easy for, all of us to pivot like this.
It really isn't. So where was your primary place of training?
So my primary place where I grew up, I actually grew up in Mumbai, in India.
Okay.
Yes, that's where I'm from. My dad is a doctor, and I do come from a family of doctors. And but my dad's always been my inspiration. He is the quintessential general practitioner who the town knows, right? So I think that's how we all want it to be now.
Yeah.
Like, let's know our doctors. So I've always been inspired by him. And over the years, when I started medical school in India, I very much recognized that psychiatry was a very, sort of like a stepchild branch. Even here, sometimes there's stigma. But in India, I'm saying it was a lot of stigma. And I've been stubborn in my life. I want to always do something which is not on the path. Yes, convention. Yeah. My dad wanted me to be a pediatrician or an OBGYN at one point. He was very confused because I actually did very well in my med school. So I was getting into all these branches that my friends were, struggling to get in, and I chose psychiatry. So he didn't understand, but now he's very proud of me. At that point in time, it was a little question mark as to what exactly is this field. Yeah. So I did a year of residency in India, and then I came here to the US, and then I had to, of course, do the first, US MLEs. Oh my God,
so why the decision to come to the US?
That I've not spoken too much about it, but actually I got married. Yep, that's what happened. So I got married, and my ex-husband at that point in time was in the United States, and it was sort of an arranged marriage. Yeah. So I do come from India, right? So that was a very common thing also. Yeah. And, we were not compatible. We came up from very different mentalities of what life should be. So then what ended up happening was I had a choice. I had a choice after the marriage dissolved. I could go back to India, and my father, as I said, is a physician there, so I could have gone back and resumed everything. But my mom was, always a visionary. Yeah. She's no longer with us, but always a visionary. And she said that, look, you want to, thank you. But she said, you want to pursue this field, which is psychiatry, which you've been so passionate about. And why don't you try your USMLEs, right? I mean, you can always try. And that's how it really happened. And so then this was my main focus at that point in time. I remember crying and studying. Because I was just 24. Yeah. So all of this was happening very fast in my life with the marriage and the breakup of it. And then, okay, now I'm here, I have an opportunity that I could stay in this country, or could I go back, those kinds of things. So I decided, all right, I will probably just pour in all my energies towards it. And, I think that I would say it was challenging for sure, because it's a new country. Luckily, I had friends, and I could stay with my friends. And my brother was in Canada by then. So I would divide my time between US and Canada, and I was able to do my USMLEs that way. But it was a fast process. Oh, yes, I did it very fast. I know people are very, very surprised. How did you do it? But, necessity is what drives you. So I knew that I had to start earning money. I knew that I didn't want to depend on people, even though it was my friends or who were here already, or my brother or my father who was supporting me. So it was a full speed. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 3 I did after residency, but CSA, or the skills. Yeah. 1.5, not even, I think in a year's time.
Oh, wow. So like a year, you got everything.
In a year, everything done. 3 months, I think I must have focused on each exam. 3 months. I knocked them out.
That was super fast.
Yeah, that was super fast. And I just had that unidirectional thought in my mind that I have to get into a residency for psychiatry, and I need to do this. And this was in 1999. Yeah. Because I started residency in 2000. That is also a very funny story, though. It was I had finished my exams in 2000, so I just got all my results. And this is around April. And somebody told me, and I was in Vancouver in Canada, and someone said, sometimes residency spots, they don't get filled. Sometimes, very, very rarely, people drop out. And that's exactly what happened to me.
Oh, wow. So you didn't apply? You hadn't applied?
I applied. I did post-match. I didn't go through match.
Oh, wow.
What I did was I cold called all program directors. There used to be a sort of like a list of the clearinghouse. It's still there. The clearinghouse, they call the positions that are unfilled, or somebody who left a residency, or somebody who was going to step in but left. Mm-hmm. So they would have these emergent positions. And I, at that point in time, I wasn't driving. So I wanted a spot in New York or some city that I could potentially just live there. And I had my cousins in New Jersey. So that was one of the reasons. So I just focused on New York. And I cold called all the program directors. And, I said, doesn't hurt, right? Let me just call them. Yeah. And I was very, very immensely lucky that I called. And St. Luke's Roosevelt had somebody who had just dropped out because of some issue. Maybe they went to another program or something like that had happened. And they liked my scores, and they said, well, how soon can you just come here? And I was in Canada at that point in time with my brother. And I said, well, how soon do you want me? So I had to call everybody, my cousin. I said, I got this flight to Baltimore. You're going to come and pick me up from Baltimore. So I have to say it was a village that helped me get where I am.
Oh, wow.
I don't think you can do it without that support of people who really believe in you, starting from my mom, my brother, my cousin in New Jersey, and her husband who, just dropped everything at the drop of the ball. Yes, we'll come get you. When is your interview? We get you there. And luckily, the scores were good. I had, there was nothing that was a sort of a barrier in that direction. So they were, plus I had done psychiatry back home. So actually I had done some, research.
Experience.
Some experience. So that really helped me get into it. But I was shocked. I know it's a very sort of a fairy tale story for IMGs. It is, because I did not think that would happen. I was going to go through the route. I was already preparing for ERAS applications for the match. Yeah, I was already, but that was going to happen for the following year, right? Yeah. Because I was looking into that. But then whoever that was, and I do not remember, it was someone in UBC, because I used to go to UBC to study and to kind of just, be there to feel the university experience, British Columbia University. So I used to go there and study. And then there were some students that I made friends with, some of those med students, and they would tell me, they would advise me. So somewhere along, I would think that, there was some sort of serendipity, some advice, somebody giving me some, do it this way. And I joined a group of people on campus who were studying. So I knew how to focus study, what exactly were the MLEs looking for. And I knew how to get those grades because I knew how to study right for the MCQs. Yeah. I come from a country where we do everything from an essay point of view.
Yeah.
Like it's very comprehensive. We had to recollect a lot of things. We had to reproduce, the anatomical diagrams. This is not what MLE was. Yeah. MLE was the application of all of this.
Yes, clinical application of what.
Clinical application.
You're not drawing the break your nerve and saying the cause, the classics. You're trying to say, where is this relevant?
Where is it, right? And why is it relevant? So I love that fact also. I thought I had a lot of structural knowledge in India. And yes, of course, applicability too. But the way these questions were really forced you to think. Yeah. Like, what would be the first choice? All the choices were relevant. But what's the first thing? First thing that you would do. So I appreciate that experience. And this is how I landed my residency in New York. It was St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital, which used to be affiliated to Columbia. And now it's Icahn School of Medicine. It's all, taken over by the one system now.
So you start you getting that year. It's pretty quick having from post-match to when you had to actually start.
I have to say it's an unusual story. I mean, even now that I think about it, somehow, as I say, that somebody was looking out for me in a lot of ways and giving me these ideas. Otherwise, I wouldn't know that I could cold call programs. But I have to say that I took a lot of rejections also along the way.
Yes.
So that's a big thing, that you have to be very, sort of like stonewalled. It's okay. People are going to say that this is not the right way to call. Why are you calling us? Or to say that these are not the right channels, do you not know? You have to apply through the ERAS, and why do you think you could just call me? I had a lot of people like program administrators. But then Lisa, who I love, Lisa was the secretary that time of our then program director. She's like my Facebook friend even now. She just loved me. She just was like, I mean, can you start? Like, when can you start? And I said, well, is it really that simple? So I'm telling you, I did get lucky. She liked my resume. She liked everything that, like the paperwork, and she felt it was complete. And they also wanted to fill their program. So there was a need from their end. They wouldn't necessarily get somebody in. I think it was just a few months before residency would start.
Yeah.
So not even, I would say it was kind of like just a month before, because I signed my contract in June. And June 30th, right? So July 1st is when you start. Yeah. So, that's exactly what happened. And it was a whirlwind of an experience when I think of it. Suddenly I'm in New York. Suddenly I'm independent. I am able to have my own apartment, which is subsidized by the program. And I'm earning my first paycheck.
Yeah.
So it was, definitely serendipity.
Amazing. Oh, wow. So we get into residency first year, like, how did that look for you? Like coming from India, like, did you just adapt? Did everything just like go smoothly?
No, I wouldn't say everything went smoothly. Great question. The one thing that helped me was this program was full of international medical graduates. Okay. So we were all from different countries. We had people from Romania, from Nepal, from India, from Pakistan, from like every place that you could think of, And I think that helped the most because everyone had an accent in my program. Yeah. Everyone came from different perspectives. And I have to say, I'm so proud of the people in my program. They have gone on to do such amazing things. There's one, Dr. Paula Zimrian, she's the associate professor at Yale. She was a year senior to me. I used to look up to her a lot, and she was from Romania. And just the names that I can tell you, like everyone did well ultimately. But in the beginning, I think we all struggled because of our language, the way our accents were, and then adapting to the American kind of way of things, to our attendings, to maybe the nursing. The nursing on the floor was quite a challenge to prove ourselves too, because, there was that, I would say, unconscious or conscious or probably an overt bias that why are you guys in this country don't speak like us, probably don't look like us, and why are you here taking care of our patients? And then patients. I would say patients was also a very learning experience in psychiatry. I think we definitely were on the receiving end of a lot of things at that point in time. And, at that point in time, there wasn't that cultural sensitivity, or that, I would say, people, were not that aware. Now there is a lot more awareness, and, you're very careful how you talk to people. You are worried about these different, disparities and, biases, and you hold yourself back. But at that point in time, there was no political correctness, as I would say. I mean, in New York, people are very brash. I've been to New York, it's blunt and brash, but it helped me grow. Yeah. At the same time, I recognized that I am in this country also. I made a choice to come to this country, and I also have to adapt and make some changes. While they are getting to know me and figure me out, I also had to, in my own way, prove to them who I am and what I'm capable of doing. Yeah. But at the same time, the acceptance piece, I feel as IMGs, we all have to fight for. Yeah, we do. I don't think we are immediately accepted. And even though I would say that it took me a lot of time in my career to come to a place where I'm very comfortable with what I want now and I can negotiate, but that has been a learning curve because, we just don't have it in us somehow to be aware about our worth. We're always worried we are sort of the second tier. We're not the second tier. Yeah. Yeah. But that comes unconsciously because we don't speak like them. Maybe we don't sound like them. We didn't go to a university in America. I don't have that lived experience. Yeah. So maybe in some way I am unconsciously trying to make myself smaller than what I'm capable of. Yeah. And I find that a common experience with IMGs. We all try to fit in that box. We want to fit, so that's the one thing I'll say. We want to fit in so desperately, right? Because we don't want to get kicked out of the program. We don't want to be the outlier. We want to, make sure that we are able to continue getting our grades and getting, our performance reviews and graduating. That was a big thing for all of us. Yeah, yeah. But it's really amazing. We talked about your program, having different, because I think for IMGs, you can never understate the importance of finding someone that has been through the same experiences with you, because no one can really empathize with you in terms of the challenges you would face, except they've been there. Exactly. So and that's one of the things, I guess New York is, as diverse as they go is with IMGs, which helps a lot. Because we are all in that same, we felt more comfortable sharing our insecurities with each other. We knew that we all had that. We all came from the place of, we have struggled to reach here. So what do we do to keep ourselves here? Yeah, yeah. How do we manage to not, fail out of this program? How do we manage to kind of keep up with what is expected of us? Yeah. whatever the political situation was or political climate was at that point in time, how do we all collectively negotiate with it? If we felt there used to be obvious times when there would be some amount of maybe bullying or some amount of bias, or whether it was racial bias or cultural or accent bias. I have faced all of it. And I think so did all my fellow colleagues in their own ways.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so that commonality held us, that we all were from different countries and we all had experienced medicine differently.
Yeah.
So it was a very enriching camaraderie to have all of these people together. From year 4 to year 3 to year 2 to year 1, everyone. There was a fair amount of IMGs. Later on, after I think I came into second or third year, then the program shifted and started focusing more on American grads. Yeah. And now I feel like it is more focused on American grads. If I see that I don't see as many IMGs in this particular program, which is also interesting. I mean, for me, I think psychiatry has become quite a hot branch to go in. Yeah. And in the 2000s, it probably wasn't as coveted, I feel. Maybe that's my observation.
No,
now
I don't think you're
not
wrong
easy. It's not easy to get in. And maybe this time, had I applied on a whim or a fancy, I don't think in 2023 I would get it. So 2000, it was easier to get it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're moving through residency, and at that point in time, you are, because you said you moved there by yourself, so you were getting a lot of support, I guess, from your family. And
fortunate, I was very fortunate. Yeah, a lot of us, both from my family. My cousin lived in New Jersey, like 40 minutes away, so she helped me move. She set me up, and I used to go to her house every weekend. So it was sort of I didn't feel I was by myself, and that really helped me ground myself, knowing that even away from home, I had somebody. So we're very close. She and I. Now I'm in Seattle, and she always says you should move back, to New Jersey. But all these years, her husband, and then her husband's extended family, they have a huge family back in New Jersey. So it always felt like I was part of something, not just a resident in New York. I also had my roots in a way back home that I could go. But the challenge was that my mom developed ovarian cancer when I was in my third year.
Oh, wow.
So that was really like, I don't know how I finished my fourth year and everything, because then it became shuttling back to India and going and coming back. And I credit my program director, who was very supportive, and my attendings were super supportive. So that was challenging. In spite of all of this, I went to, I did my fellowship for psychosomatic medicine at NYU. And then as I finished my fellowship, she couldn't see me graduate because she actually passed away on July 18th of 2005, and I just finished my fellowship. She knew that, and I had a job as an attending. So she died knowing that I finished my journey and that I did what I set out to, and that I was actually an attending at NYU and Bellevue, which was a huge thing. I had that job already. Oh, she was very proud. So she died with that knowledge. And then, as I kind of look back at my life, that it's been bittersweet in that sense, that the success came, but I also lost a pivotal person who drove me to saying that you could do it, you can stay, and the doubt that I had that, I'm from India and I don't know whether I can really live here by myself. I have so many friends back home. So so that definitely kind of helped in a way.
Yeah.
And so it's been a bittersweet journey losing out on as an IMG, because this is one thing we leave a lot of things behind.
Yeah, we do.
We do. So it's a choice you make, and then it's a choice you have to live with sometimes.
Yeah. But that's awesome. I'm glad, like you said, that she was able to see you get to that pivotal stage in your career. So you're done with residency, you're done with fellowship, applying for a job. Was that did you get it right the first time in terms of your job application, or did you?
So, luckily I was, again, because the mentors that I had, Dr. Asher Alojim, he was my program director at Bellevue, and all the attendings, Dr. Sean Allen. I had a very good nurse practitioner friend who was high up in the nursing department there, Margaret Glover. So they were all very, very helpful. And when I did apply, of course, it was a bit of a struggle because I wanted a job in a certain area. and I had to split it. And I didn't like the outpatient side of it in the beginning because I was only interested in CL, consult liaison. But, I kind of like through that learning curve also, I felt as an attending also, you had to kind of really brush up and make sure that you're now in par because you have residents who have trained here. Now they're trained from NYU and Bellevue, and you're always following that imposter syndrome. Are you good enough, right? So I think that was my challenge. Am I good enough to teach them, right?
Yeah.
Like now I'm an attending.
Yeah.
I am board certified by then. Yes, I have passed my boards, all of that. And I am entitled to be the attending, but am I really entitled?
Yeah.
Am I really able to kind of like grade them the way that I should? So that was a journey to learn. How do I change and make myself feel that I really am capable and I can allow myself to not feel like an imposter?
So and a lot of IMGs go through that. Like it's you ask yourself,
no,
oh my God, you're gonna figure out I'm not supposed to be here. Like what happens when they think
yeah. Or they would say, like, why would you teach? Like, which school are you from? You're from India. What do you know about me? But I think those were my own fears because honestly, I feel like I've got nothing but respect and actually love in so many of my juniors.
Yeah.
I mean, I ended up recruiting them with me when I moved to Mount Sinai. I had somebody who was my, I was a supervisor. I recruited her, and they become my friends over the years.
Yeah.
They have become people who I will call as friends, as colleagues.
Yeah.
And done much more than what I had, and I'm so proud of them that they have gone from point A to point D, like so much higher up in their career. And I feel like in small ways, if I influence them or they followed my path in a way that, I did consult liaison psychiatry and this was so interesting for me. Somebody else followed. And then gradually, I think that the respect that you get, the love that you get, you then start believing in yourself that everything cannot be a stroke of luck, right? You just, you did study, you did, so those things I have to constantly tell myself even now that, I mean,
you worked hard for this.
I did. Stuff, but you understand because you're an IMG, you get it. It's like when you are stepping on those floors or when you're there and when you are judged, you know that you're going to be judged at a higher level, at least internally. Sure. Your inner critic is so much on a high alert. What are you saying? How are you presenting? How are you sounding?
Yeah.
Are you culturally appropriate? Are you speaking slowly? I had to really teach myself to speak slowly because when I get, a little bit anxious or if I'm on the spot to present a case, I would go like a train.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't understand me because, they're like, slow down.
Yeah.
Did you just say? Yeah. And I felt cringy inside. I'm like, it's my accent and I'm sorry. And I apologized for every single thing. I think I still do sometimes. But, I realized that this is us. This is me.
Yeah.
Saying that. And now I think after I turned 50 this year and I still struggle. I still struggle to see where do I place myself, right?
Yeah.
How am I placed here? And am I still worthy enough of being where I am? And I from external validation, I see, yes, I am. I mean, I've done this. I have recertified and passed again my couple boards. When I know I am reaching milestones. I have presented in conferences. I've written a lot. I just published a book, actually. I'm going to show you.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a book. Yeah. So it's
artificial intelligence.
It's artificial intelligence in medicine. And it's written by 15 doctors.
Oh,
and most of them
I Tatiana at the back there.
You know Tatiana. And do you know Ludmila?
No, I only know Tatiana.
So Tatiana, So Tatiana also does a lot of the podcasts and women's health and wellness and everything. Yeah. So there is a group of 15 of us, and many of us are IMGs.
Oh wow. Well,
you should definitely.
Amazing. Yes.
So, but even then, and we are having a launch party, by the way, on October 18th. Okay. If you're on LinkedIn, I should definitely be friends with you and
yes, I'm on
get
LinkedIn.
You. Yeah. But if you, Tatiana's probably also posted about it. Yep.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So it is awesome, but it's a journey still.
It is. So looking through your experiences, what is the one thing in terms of you wish you had known at the onset that you think would have made your journey easier?
Yeah. I think that's a great question. I think the one thing I wish I could have told my younger self is to believe in herself more.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel that I was always on the precipice of they're going to throw me out. They're going to find me out somehow, or they'll say that she's not worthy enough to be here.
Yeah.
And I find that, I don't know, and I don't want to sort of sound like, covering everybody in the same blanket, but I feel like a lot of young women, especially if you are from immigrant cultures wherein there is a bit of patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
In my culture, there was. I didn't grow up like that. My father has always given me full independence, but there is patriarchy. There is a bit of that cultural, like, sort of women are expected a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think that somehow, for me, that was a little bit of like learning curve and feeling not that confident.
Yeah.
So if I had to give advice, I would say that believe that, things are happening because you have put in the effort.
Yeah.
So your effort counts, and it's not just, oh, I don't know how it happened, or I must have been so lucky. Even now, as I talk to you, you would see I say that, right? That it was serendipity. I don't know what people think. And yes, a lot of my story with the way I landed the program, probably the story was that. But I had done very well in those exams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had done very well in those exams. I had substance behind me. It wasn't a random application that they said, okay, let's just get her here, and we are just so desperate. They could have hired somebody else. I knew they had other people also.
Yeah.
But something about me stood up to them. They felt, okay, she, really is passionate about psychiatry. She wants to do something good in this field. We want to take her. That advice I could give my younger self would be better. Not to really just worry all the time about, hey, is this really worth, like, am I worthy enough for this? So IMGs, I think, should really change that thought now.
Yeah.
And say that, we are more than worthy because we have had the resilience to finish medicine in an entire country, another country. We have come here and we have redone medicine here.
Yeah, we have.
We have gone through everything again. So imagine, like, I don't know how it is back home in Nigeria, but for us, we have a degree called MBBS back home. So I am an MBBS. You also have the same. Yeah. And then you come here, you do an MD. So my point being that we have that, like we already are doctors in our country.
Yeah.
So it's something we have to value, and we have to tell ourselves that we are not just random people that don't deserve it.
Yeah,
and if things happen to us, it's not by luck. It is our effort.
It is our effort, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. So before I let you go, just one tip you want to leave for any IMG listening to you today. Just one tip.
So I'll say number one, don't give up, right? First of all, I would also say be very intentional about what you want. What field do you want? Research every single thing about this field, in terms of like, what is the capacity right now? What is the need in this field? How competitive is this field?
Yeah.
Right? Because as an IMG, one thing we know and that's the harsh truth, that there are some fields it's difficult to get in if it is super competitive.
Yeah.
So then could you kind of like, change that, how important it is? Let's say you do want to go in those fields, and that's probability is less. Mm-hmm. You may want to think about how could you spruce up your resume? Can you do some sort of like, observership? I know it's hard these days, but I don't know how you could kind of create a partnership. Yeah. That being said, are you ready to pivot? Could you go to a field which you could then do later, transition to another field? I know a few people who have done couple residencies, right? They have come, they have finished psychiatry, they have gone to internal medicine.
Oh, wow.
So they've done it. So they've done 7 years in their lives of the residency. They are dually, triple both certified. People can do that if you have the passion. And the other advice I would give, it's a long journey. It's okay, but always keep that one thing straight in front of your head, that it is there. It's just that it's not going to happen the way you envisioned it to happen.
Yeah.
If you want to come to this country, I am now a citizen here. I love it here. I have, I think I kind of straddle both worlds sometimes. One step. Like my 20s I spent in India, and then like from 25 to here to 50. So 25, I'm literally at the cusp.
Yeah.
Half there.
Half and half.
Half and half. I did it. So I feel, if you are ready to do that, and it just depends on, again, what your passion is in the field. right? I mean, it doesn't mean that you lost anything if you didn't get into the program this year. Keep trying.
Yeah.
And keep cold calling or networking. The more you network, you wouldn't know how easy it is that people sometimes say,
better your chances. Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember this one? Oh yeah, like I do. And that's how you network. And you network thankfully on social media, on LinkedIn and whatnot. Keep in connection, attend conferences. I would say do that a lot. Try to kind of like, get mentored by somebody if you can. I know it's tough, but sometimes it's nice to still kind of develop a relationship that I'm interested in this field. And people appreciate it no matter what, because you would get that letter of recommendation.
Yeah.
So nothing goes to waste. Absolutely. Even if it's a little research or a little clinic observership, everything jot down. And life is, it's good. It's an experience. You learn from it. And then when you do the journey, that journey was meant to be.
Yeah.
So don't give up. If you want to come to this country, don't give up. I know so many people who have done their MLEs and then tried 4 or 5 times. And the 6th time they got into residency.
Oh, wow.
So they never gave up. They were working here. They did lab work. They did this. They did that.
All that. They got into IT.
They got into... They did everything else. Like they did like a research observership here, or maybe they did a little PhD program. Not PhD. I wouldn't say that. But they did like an MPH. Let's say they did an MPH. They did a master's somewhere, or they worked somewhere. Mm-hmm. They took a job. They worked somewhere and continued to support themselves. Kept on applying.
Yeah.
The 7th year they got in. So it's just how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
And don't give up. If people in residency expect that, there's going to be growth, there's going to be periods of challenges, but embrace those and you will get on the other side, and even on that other side, you will still have your challenges.
It still will.
Which is because medicine, as we all know, like the pandemic really uncovered it, right? I mean, it's a very difficult landscape, and we all are trying to figure it out as we go, and it's frustrating at times. So at the end of the day, keep your passion alive. If you like to do what you do, then no matter all the other things, they'll all fall in place.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, I know. But thank you for letting me be talking.
I appreciate you. I know a lot of people are going to benefit from your experience and your journey and your wisdom. If someone wants to reach out to you, I guess you said you're on LinkedIn.
Yes, okay, I am on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And yes, absolutely, they can reach out to me. I also have a private practice now, and I do some consultations on it for peers or, for psychiatry, mostly professional consultations and things like that. So you can reach out to me through that as well if you wanted to do, sort of a peer-to-peer consultation. So my website is www.swapnavaidya.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you. I'll post the links, everything.
Yeah, thank you.
In the comments, and also I'll post this on. There's a Facebook group I opened for this called For an MD, where I'll post a video so that way folks have questions. They can also ask questions underneath the page where the video is posted. So I am so thankful that we got to hear your story.
Oh my God, I am so nice. I hope to one day get to hear your story, because I know it's a very fascinating and very courageous and an inspiring story.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
And I'm very grateful that you're doing this for IMGs, because I wish that somewhere such a podcast existed when I was starting on the journey.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please share, like, and subscribe to encourage a fellow physician who is also on this transition journey.